Gentlemen, if you've been using olive oil for your health, thinking you're doing everything right, I need to tell you something that could completely transform your results. You're only getting half the benefit, maybe less than half. Because olive oil, as powerful as it is, works exponentially better when combined with one simple ingredient that most of you already have in your kitchen cabinet. Today, I'm going to reveal why vinegar, particularly apple cider vinegar, is the missing piece that unlocks olive oil's full potential for supporting blood flow, vascular health, and male function. I'm Dr. Emma Blake, your trusted men's health advisor. Here's what we're covering today. First, what happens to your vascular system as you age, and why men over 40 face particular challenges with blood flow. Then, how olive oil and vinegar create biochemical synergy that neither substance can produce alone. We're talking about dramatic improvements in blood vessel flexibility and nitric oxide production. And finally, the exact preparation method, when to take it, and what timeline to expect for real results. Now, understanding the biology first makes the preparation method make total sense. Skip ahead and you'll miss why this works. Hit that subscribe button because what we're covering today is backed by both traditional wisdom and modern science. Before we dive into this powerful combination, let me explain what happens to your vascular system as you age, and why senior men face particular challenges. The blood vessels in your body are not static pipes. They're living tissues that must remain flexible, responsive, and clear of obstructions to function properly. In your 20s and 30s, your blood vessels are typically supple and elastic, able to dilate quickly when increased blood flow is needed. But starting around age 40 and accelerating through your 50s, 60s, and beyond, several degenerative processes begin affecting your vascular system. The endothelial cells lining your blood vessels become less efficient at producing nitric oxide, that critical molecule that signals vessels to relax and expand. The smooth muscle and vessel walls become stiffer and less responsive. Calcium and cholesterol begin accumulating on vessel walls, forming plaques that narrow the internal diameter. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. For men specifically, these changes have particularly pronounced effects on male function because the blood vessels supplying the penis are among the smallest in your body, typically just 1 to 2 millimeters in diameter. Even minor plaque buildup or slight reductions in vessel flexibility can dramatically impair blood flow to this area. By the time most men reach their 60s and 70s, they've accumulated years or even decades of vascular damage. But wait, there's something else you need to understand that most men don't realize. This damage isn't entirely irreversible. Your body has remarkable capacity for repair and regeneration when given the right support. This is where the olive oil and vinegar combination becomes absolutely crucial. Keep this in mind because it connects directly to what I'm about to show you about olive oil. Let me start by explaining what makes olive oil so valuable for vascular health. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most thoroughly researched foods for cardiovascular and vascular health. The Mediterranean diet, which features olive oil as a primary fat source, has been associated with significantly lower rates of heart disease and better overall vascular function well into old age. The key compound in olive oil is oleic acid, a monounsaturated fatty acid that comprises about 70 to 80% of olive oil's fat content. Oleic acid has been shown to support healthy cholesterol ratios, reduce inflammation in blood vessels, and improve the flexibility of arterial walls. Extra virgin olive oil also contains powerful polyphenols, including oleocanthal and hydroxytyrosol. These compounds have anti-inflammatory effects that rival some pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs. Olive oil polyphenols also protect LDL cholesterol from oxidation. Oxidized LDL is particularly damaging to blood vessels and is a primary contributor to plaque formation. By preventing this oxidation, olive oil helps stop atherosclerosis at an early stage. Research has shown that regular consumption of extra virgin olive oil improves endothelial function, meaning the cells lining your blood vessels work better at producing nitric oxide and responding to signals for vasodilation. This translates directly to improved blood flow throughout your body. But here's what most people don't realize. Olive oil's beneficial compounds are fat-soluble, which means they're absorbed and utilized differently than water-soluble nutrients. And the absorption and effectiveness of these compounds can be dramatically enhanced by combining olive oil with specific acidic substances. This is where vinegar enters the picture. Now let me explain what vinegar, particularly apple cider vinegar, brings to this powerful combination. Apple cider vinegar is produced through the fermentation of apple juice. First, the sugars in the juice are converted to alcohol by yeast. Then, bacteria convert the alcohol to acetic acid, the primary active compound in vinegar. But apple cider vinegar contains much more than just acetic acid. It also contains various organic acids, polyphenols from the apples, and, if it's unfiltered, beneficial bacteria and enzymes. Acetic acid has been extensively studied for its effects on blood sugar metabolism and insulin sensitivity. Even small amounts of vinegar consumed with meals can significantly reduce the blood sugar spike that would otherwise occur. This is crucial for vascular health because elevated blood sugar damages blood vessels through a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins and make them dysfunctional. But vinegar's benefits extend far beyond blood sugar. Acetic acid has been shown to support healthy blood pressure through multiple mechanisms. It affects the renin-angiotensin system, which regulates blood pressure. It also appears to enhance the production and activity of nitric oxide, that master regulator of blood vessel dilation. The organic acids in apple cider vinegar also have mild chelating properties, meaning they can bind to certain minerals and metals. This may help with the gradual removal of calcified deposits from arterial walls, though this effect requires consistent, long-term use. Here's what's wild about this. When you combine olive oil and vinegar, something happens that makes both substances more effective than they would be individually. The acetic acid in vinegar enhances the absorption of the fat-soluble polyphenols in olive oil. These beneficial compounds are absorbed more efficiently when consumed in an acidic environment. Your stomach produces acid for this reason, but the additional acid from vinegar further enhances this process. The polyphenols in olive oil and the polyphenols in apple cider vinegar work together to provide more comprehensive antioxidant protection than either provides alone. They target different types of free radicals and protect different aspects of cellular function, creating a broader shield against oxidative damage. The anti-inflammatory effects of both substances appear to be synergistic rather than simply additive. When consumed together, they produce greater reductions in inflammatory markers than would be expected from consuming equivalent amounts separately. Both olive oil and vinegar support healthy endothelial function, but through somewhat different mechanisms. Olive oil provides the building blocks and protection for endothelial cells, while vinegar enhances their activity and responsiveness. Together, they create optimal conditions for nitric oxide production and blood vessel health. But here's the thing most men don't realize about this combination. The blood sugar regulating effects of vinegar complement the insulin sensitizing effects of olive oil's polyphenols. For men over 40 dealing with metabolic changes, this combination helps maintain the healthy glucose metabolism that's essential for protecting blood vessels. Let me teach you the optimal way to prepare and consume this powerful combination. The traditional preparation is simple and has been used in Mediterranean cultures for thousands of years. Start with high-quality, extra virgin olive oil. Quality matters enormously here. Look for oil that's cold-pressed, stored in dark glass bottles, and preferably from a single origin. The harvest date should be recent, ideally within the past year. Fresh olive oil contains significantly higher levels of beneficial polyphenols than old oil. For vinegar, use raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar that contains the mother, that cloudy substance you see settled at the bottom. This indicates the vinegar hasn't been overly processed and retains beneficial enzymes and bacteria. The basic ratio is 3 parts olive oil to 1 part vinegar. For a daily therapeutic dose, this typically means 3 tablespoons of olive oil mixed with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Place the vinegar in a small bowl or cup first. Add a small pinch of sea salt and whisk it briefly. The salt helps the vinegar and oil combine more thoroughly. Then, slowly drizzle in the olive oil while whisking continuously. This creates an emulsion where the oil and vinegar temporarily combine rather than separating into distinct layers. Now, timing and method of consumption significantly impact the benefits you receive. For blood sugar regulation and metabolic benefits, consuming the olive oil and vinegar mixture shortly before or with your largest meal of the day provides optimal effects. The vinegar slows gastric emptying and carbohydrate absorption, while the olive oil provides satiety and supports healthy insulin response. Many men find that consuming this preparation first thing in the morning on an empty stomach produces the most noticeable effects on overall energy and vascular function. On an empty stomach, the beneficial compounds are absorbed quickly and efficiently. For men specifically focused on improving blood flow for male function, consuming the mixture 45 to 90 minutes before periods, when optimal circulation is desired, can provide acute benefits. However, the most significant improvements come from consistent daily use over weeks and months rather than acute dosing. And here's where nutrition becomes absolutely critical for long-term vascular health. While this olive oil and vinegar combination is powerful, pairing it with foods that naturally support blood flow creates even better results. That's why I created the Men's Libido and Vitality Kitchen, 20 rock-hard erection smoothies. These recipes combine ingredients specifically chosen for supporting nitric oxide production, circulation, and male performance. You'll find it linked in the description below. Let me explain what happens in your body over time as you consistently consume this olive oil and vinegar combination. In the first few weeks, you may notice improvements in digestion and energy levels. The vinegar supports healthy stomach acid production and digestive enzyme activity. The olive oil provides steady energy and helps you feel satisfied after meals. Many men notice that their blood sugar feels more stable. The afternoon energy crashes that plague many men become less pronounced. Within 1 to 2 months, more substantial vascular changes begin occurring. Blood pressure often shows favorable shifts. The flexibility of arterial walls improves, which is often noticed subjectively as a general sense of better circulation. The anti-inflammatory effects accumulate over time. Chronic inflammation markers in the blood decrease. This reduced inflammation allows endothelial cells to function more optimally and supports the healing of existing vascular damage. At the 3 to 6 month mark, men often report significant improvements in male function and blood flow. The quality of erections improves, reliability increases, and the tissue feels healthier and more vital. These changes reflect genuine improvements in vascular health rather than temporary stimulation. For men with existing vascular disease or significant plaque buildup, even longer timelines may be needed to see maximal benefits. The process of gradually reducing arterial plaque and reversing years of damage takes time. But with patience and consistency, meaningful improvements are possible, even for men in their 70s and 80s. Here's the bottom line. The combination of extra virgin olive oil and apple cider vinegar represents one of the most effective natural interventions